Welcome to Accomplish Everything. I'm Shannon, and today I am in the holiday spirit right now, which I'm sure most of you are probably right in the middle of it too. Today, I want to talk about a legend. A legend that I wondered about myself. You know, when you think of Christmas, right? What do you think of? Think of a Christmas tree, Santa, obviously, and then what? Probably either one of two other things. Rudolph or Frosty. One of those two, probably, right? Well, I got to wondering, I said, you know what? Where did Rudolph even come from? Right? Like, really think back. Like, do you know where Rudolph even came from? Like, the story is pretty old. I mean, there was a stop motion animated show from Rankin Bass that was awesome, but surely it was something before that. Where did it even come from? It can't be as old as Santa Claus, right? It can't be that old. But it probably isn't really recent either. I wonder where did Rudolph come from? Maybe you don't know either. Where did Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer even come from? So Rudolph was created all the way back in 1939 by a guy named Robert L. May. And he was a copywriter for the very old store Montgomery Ward. Montgomery Ward typically would give away, coloring books and things like that around Christmas time. Well, someone decided, hey, we should have our own story. We could sell our own books and not have to pay anyone else. Instead of giving away storybooks at Christmas and having to buy the rights, we could probably just make our own story, right? Who do we know that could write stories? Well, it just so happened there was a guy up in the copyright department named Robert L. May, and he had written a couple little kids' books that not many people even heard about. And I said, hey, Robert, could you come up with a story and we'll give it away for the kids at Christmas? He said, sure. So Robert got to work. And in about a month, he created Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So then Robert turned it in to the higher-ups at Montgomery Ward, and they loved it. So they immediately started pressing up copies as just a giveaway to the children at Christmas. It was a big success. All the kids loved them. And so they passed them out to the kids at Christmas. And that's what it was. The story of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was just a free promotional book at Montgomery Ward back in 1939. About a year after another book that you probably know, Action Comics #1, was released. So now, I present to you a very first edition. And not only a first edition, but a first printing of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer from 1939. So here it is in the display that I keep it in. Like I said, a first edition, not only a first edition, but a first printing of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer from 1939. The very first time anyone ever heard of Rudolph is from one of these books right here. This I treat with great reverence. Like, I'm not going to open it up just because of how fragile it is. You know what? It's a special occasion. Let's open it up. Let's do it. I never do this. Never. But just for you. Just for you. I'm a little scared. All right. Ooh. Okay. All right. This is it. An original first printing of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer from 1939. First time anyone ever heard of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was from this book right here. There's some confusion with copies of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Like I said, I didn't even know where Rudolph came from. Now, you can imagine back in 1939, by now, you know, the average person probably doesn't even know. Rudolph is just part of the zeitgeist, right? He's just part of Christmas. There is some confusion about these because these were reprinted, right, in the 40s. Now, on the dates, it'll still say 1939. So there's some confusion when you see a book that says it's 1939. Oh, that's a first printing of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. No, it's not. Not necessarily. There is one way that you absolutely can tell if it is indeed a first printing of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I'm going to open this up and show you. Oh, man. I never do this. I never, ever do this. The paper's just so fragile. Oh, I don't even want to bend the paper all the way back. Look at the artwork. You can tell the age. Right here. Right here is where you can tell if you indeed have a first printing or not. The original first print had this illustration, and it was a tri-motor plane. 1, 2, 3 motors on this plane. Reprints, even ones that'll still say 1939, they changed it to a 4-motor plane in the illustration. The first printings had 3. The reprints have 4. Just telling you this because I kind of feel that currently these are undervalued. Currently. Because, as I said, a lot of people don't even know where Rudolph came from. However, Rudolph was created in 1939. So I personally believe a few things. One, yes, there were many that got made of this. However, it was a free book how many free coloring books did you save? Probably not many, right? So, how many of these are still circulating and in decent shape for the age? Who's to say? I don't know. Probably not anywhere near as many. They were probably just thrown away, right? That's what usually happens with free promotional stuff is, see you later. Bye. So, being created in 1939, and it was so long ago and it's just not talked about very often where Rudolph even came from. I personally believe when it comes to Rudolph's 100th anniversary in 2039, this book will skyrocket because people will then be aware of where he even came from. I think generally most people don't have no idea where Rudolph even came from. He's just a character from a stop motion thing. And for that reason alone, not just its future value, just because I love the story of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, I treat this book with so much reverence and so much respect. And today you got a rare glimpse at a piece of my collection. But that's not the only thing of Rudolph that I have. This will go back into my vault. Never to be taken out again. Never, never, ever. It's beautiful. Look at that. Beautiful. I really hope you enjoyed that. Like I said, I never take it out of the case. And that's not the only case. That case goes in another case. So, I never do that. So, back in 1949, Robert's brother-in-law, Johnny Marks, wrote the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer song, sung by the legend Gene Autry. And it became one of the best-selling Christmas songs of all time. All time. You know that. I think everyone knows the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer song. Also, I have in my collection a first pressing of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer by Gene Autry on record. Pretty awesome. So yeah, I'm a collector of many things. I didn't know that I was gonna have a Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer collection, but here we are, right? But it was always fascinating to me that he wrote that story and it was a success, and it wasn't until 10 years after that was done before the song even came about. Now, from the song, it went to the stop motion animated classic Rankin Bass production of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And then that didn't premiere on TV until 1964. From 39 to 49 when the song was made, to then 1964 before Rankin Bass's stop motion animated special was made. And from then on, a lot of people just associate it with that special. But it was decades before that when the book was made 10 years after that, the song was made. And then it wasn't until 1964 when that special even came out. And now, Rudolph is just a part of Christmas. Like I said, I think a lot of people have no idea generally where Rudolph even came from. They probably don't even question it. Oh, Rudolph came from that animated show we've all watched every year at Christmas. And the song, there's a song too. But where did it start? It started in Chicago at the Montgomery Ward building with a copywriter named Robert L. May. So, I hope you enjoyed that little bit of history, that little glance into a prized possession of mine. So, hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you guys next week.